We are traveling from Avignon, our home base in Provence, down to Marseille. Upon arriving at St. Charles train station in Marseille, it only takes a couple of minutes to walk to the main street, La Canabière, so you're immediately in the center of town, strolling along a grand boulevard. Our touring plan for Marseille is quite modest. We're just going to take a stroll through the main section of downtown and along the marina and into the old town and around a little bit more for several hours, give you a brief look at it and get a feeling for the place. Marseille has the second largest population in France and perhaps the most ethnically diverse, and strolling along this fine street makes it seem like you are in a smaller version of Paris. Several side streets are lined with more shops and offer tempting detours. You can easily walk up one for a few blocks, then cross over to the next and return to the main boulevard. Just zigzag your way along. Some of these streets are pedestrian malls with no cars, and others are just quiet streets where people walk in the street and they share it with automobiles. It's all very friendly. The tourist office will give you an excellent free map showing a walking route through the old town that we're going to be following. You can also download it online. You'll see the impressive neoclassical facade of the Bourse, which houses the Chamber of Commerce that was established way back in 1599, making it the oldest in France. Take a quick peek inside to appreciate the large rotunda and impressive interior, and maybe one of their regular exhibits is happening. One block over is downtown's main shopping mall, the Centre Bourse, with the Galeries Lafayette, a Fnac, and several dozen typical shops. And then continue along to the waterfront just one block away. The Old Port and neighborhoods around it are the most interesting parts of Marseille for the visitor. It's a wonderful marina, about 80 acres in size, with 2,000 pleasure boats tied up along its 50 docks. Sailboats, big yachts, fishing boats, excursion, and motorcraft. In season, you can get boat rides to view the famous picturesque rocky coves along the coastline. The tranquility of this viewport has been protected because cruise and cargo ships dock around the bend in a different harbor, which is the busiest in the nation. Marseille was historically the most important trade center of France and the region, and for 2,500 years, this old port is where all the action took place. Big natural harbor. Walk along the right side of the marina on the Quai du Port, passing many attractive sidewalk restaurants that might tempt you back later on. Views of the boats tied up on both sides of the basin are quite lovely. The total length of the marina section is about 600 meters, so it's very easy to walk the full length and enjoy the view. Just before reaching the very end of the marina, cross the street at the traffic light and walk to the left a block and go up the 2 levels of the stone Saint Laurent staircase to a terrace where you'll get the best view of Marseille. Walk along the edge of the terrace to find the grand vista of the marina and those 2 old forts down below from the 17th century, Saint-Jean and Saint-Nicolas, guarding each side of the harbor mouth. Major new developments have been transforming Marseille from a somewhat scruffy, worn-out town into the glistening city of culture, as it was designated in 2013, thanks to large new shopping centers and many gourmet restaurants, innovative museums, revitalized urban core, all of which have combined to create one of Europe's most up-and-coming new cities, even though it's the oldest city in France and one of the oldest on the continent. Continue along the terrace to a black metal pedestrian bridge that leads to more terraces and the spectacular MuCEM of European and Mediterranean Civilisations. Opened here in 2013, this bold modern building, built on reclaimed land in the harbor, is dedicated to Mediterranean civilization, past and present. Called MuCEM, the building is a cube of 15,000 square meters surrounded by a latticework shell of fiber-reinforced concrete and houses exhibits on 2 different levels with a cafe on the roof and a cluster of gourmet restaurants inside. You can quickly reach the old town in a 5-minute walk from the MuCEM terrace. Upon plunging into the old town, you'll be assisted by a helpful red line that's been painted directly on the sidewalk to guide your way so that you don't get lost. This is cleverly matched by a red line on the free map provided by the tourist office to help you find your way. You might be tempted to deviate from suggested routes and explore whatever lane, staircase, or plaza looks good. For example, Place de l'Ange is not on the suggested red line route but makes a good starting point. The urban explorer will enjoy various pedestrian lanes here and picturesque staircase streets with a scatter of neighborhood shops and cafes. There's a peaceful and quiet atmosphere in this old town, which is quite safe to walk through during the daytime. After being damaged severely in World War II, this old zone was rebuilt in the traditional style with narrow lanes, but frankly, it's still a bit scruffy with lots of graffiti scrawled on some beat-up old buildings, which makes it all the more interesting as a neighborhood in transition, becoming a newly hip, authentic bohemian space away from the tourist crowd. The easiest route through the scenic old town is just follow that suggested red line. It requires a little bit of up and down. After all, this neighborhood is on a hill, but just follow the lanes and you'll easily find your way back to the marina. You'll now be walking back along the waterfront promenade that you came through in the first place, lined with those dozen cafes and restaurants fronting the harbor. Another pleasant section of the waterfront is across the marina on the south side, with a series of broad avenues and plazas, pedestrian streets, and many restaurants. Walk past the top of the port on the Quai de la Fraternité to Courbeillard and explore the 4 blocks leading from here along the waterfront with side lanes for pedestrians. Running through the middle is a classic pedestrian street, Rue Sanson. The city's largest outdoor plaza is 1 block inland with many outdoor restaurants in an open space that was created in the 1980s after community activists got together and pressured the government to demolish a huge parking lot and put the cars underground here. Obviously, there's a lot more to see in Marseille, but we've just been doing a little reconnaissance today, a little walk through some of the main highlights. It's one of the most visited cities in all of France with 4 million annual tourists, so you know there are many more things to see. With more time, you could enjoy dozens of museums, hilltop viewpoints, modern architectural landmarks, the tourist tram, bicycle tours, old churches, wine tastings, and so forth. However, our stroll through the center has shown you the real heart of the city with a little taste of the ethnic diversity. For departure, you could easily walk back from the old port to the train station, which is just 1,000 meters slightly uphill from this part of town, but instead try the metro. It has a convenient entrance across the street from the marina, and it's very easy to get around on this underground train. Just a couple of stops from the harbor to the station, a couple of minutes. You can buy your metro ticket right on the spot here in the station in the lobby. The machines take cash or credit card, and then you'll get your ticket and you put it into the turnstile and inside you go. It's the only metro station I've seen with a big fish tank, which has been here for many years. The fish are doing quite nicely. It's a good diversion to check them out while waiting for the next train, which arrives in a few minutes. It's always fun to travel like a local and save a little time, especially here where it's so convenient and we're not traveling during rush hour, so the train is not crowded. It's a smooth, quick ride, only 2 stops, so within a few minutes we are arriving at the main train station. When you get out of the metro at the St. Charles station, it's easy to find your way. Just follow the signs. Everything is very clean, safe, and well lit, and they have big escalators. The metro is deep underground, so don't climb up the staircase outside the building. Even if you walk here, go inside the station and take the escalators. It just takes a few minutes and you'll arrive in the central station platform area. They have done an incredible job of rebuilding and expanding and modernizing this train station in recent years, just like they have improved the city so much overall. The station seems to have doubled in size and become an indoor shopping mall and entertainment center. You might even see musicians. How nice to have a piano available for the public. Anybody can just sit down and start playing. It's a very large and busy station. You can get direct trains to many parts of the country from here. For example, Paris is only 3 hours away by TGV. Quite remarkable. We are continuing our journey back to Avignon, only 35 minutes away by TGV.